Happy Sunday, everyone. The time now is just around 6:30 p.m. on Sunday, April 7th. And we had a lot of sunshine today, but starting to see some cloud cover build in across the area. Current temperature right now in the upper 60s, and that's where we did have that high temperature peak earlier today. It was a fantastic afternoon across the region, although we are going to be cooling off tonight, expected to be in the upper 40s by 2 o'clock. It is not nearly as chilly as the last two nights where we had the upper 30s and even a little bit of patchy frost across our outlying communities. Look at the change in temperatures. We're talking about the mid 40s overnight with more clouds and winds coming in out of the south. Southerly winds pump up a little bit of additional moisture and humidity, so prevents the temperatures from cooling off as much. We'll even be in the 40s up toward the mountains. But the big story heading through the day tomorrow is the partial solar eclipse here in the Queen City, and of course the total solar eclipse for those other areas across the country. We're going to get to those in just a second, but let's talk about our local forecast. There is a lot going on this graphic, so let's start with the partial eclipse begins locally around 1:54. We peak our maximum eclipse intensity, that's 80% coverage, around 3:12. Notice that the clouds will be building in from the west, so we are going to see a decent amount of cloud cover mixed in with some sunshine. Even the chance for a stray shower or two, mainly up toward the mountains. But notice here, 3:12, the maximum eclipse intensity here in Charlotte, 80% coverage. There will be a decent amount of cloud cover across the metro. Areas south and southeast toward Anson County, Richmond County, Chesterfield, and Lancaster County will have the best view. Much more cloud cover again up toward the mountains. That partial eclipse will end around 4:26. Reminder, eclipse glasses are required because you're essentially looking directly into the sun. So please be mindful of that and stay safe out there on Monday. Now, locally across the Carolinas, I just showed you our forecast, but let's take a wider view of totality. This is the path in which the total solar eclipse is going to occur. Still expecting a decent amount of clouds for Texas, even southern portions there of Arkansas. Still some better weather for southern Illinois into parts of Ohio. This cluster here of clouds, especially for western Pennsylvania and into New York, will cause some issues, but the New England states are seeing the best forecast. Now, for parts of Texas, this is actually going to be a bit of an issue here for Texas, southern Oklahoma, and even into Arkansas. Not only clouds and opportunities for rain, but also severe weather during that total solar eclipse tomorrow. So something certainly mindful of. Here's what the path of totality is. Notice the time frame is in Central Time, so a little bit different than us. Some cities that are in the path of totality, we have Austin, Waco, Fort Worth, Dallas. Notice all the clouds lingering around. You get into parts here of Arkansas. We have Little Rock, a few more breaks there. Jonesboro, the same. Paducah, Kentucky, also seeing some breaks as well as you get into southern parts of Illinois. Bloomington, Indianapolis, all the way up toward Dayton, Ohio. Again, a mix of some clouds, but also some clearing expected. Chief Meteorologist Brad Pandovich will be in Ohio, and of course, really excited to see some pictures and videos from him. And then as we get into those parts there of New York, remember what I mentioned about more clouds. You can see that kind of a bummer there for places like Buffalo, but then getting into Burlington, Vermont, all the way into Maine, much more clear skies expected. So it is going to be really exciting for folks in the path, really hoping, fingers crossed, that everybody gets a nice view. Here in the Queen City, though, I just showed you clouds, opportunities for rain. It probably doesn't surprise you that that means more warmth. That will allow for our pollen levels to still be pretty high heading to the day tomorrow, but Tuesday and Wednesday they do start to drop. The reason why? More clouds and more opportunities for rain. A series of storm systems will move through the Charlotte area later on this week. Now I'm pausing this here by Wednesday at 6 p.m. so you can see some rain accumulation, especially in the mountains and foothills, but not in incredible amounts. The best chance for rain and even the potential for storms, that comes on Thursday. Notice how much that changes for Thursday and Friday. So the bulk of this moisture, the bulk of the chance for localized flooding will be from that secondary round that comes in on Thursday with even a few storms. Look at those mountain totals. I mean, pretty impressive, 4.5 in Boone. If that was to occur, certainly seeing a higher risk again for some flooding. So as you check out your Guy Roofing 7-day forecast, there is a lot to talk about, but of course the eclipse is the big story heading through the day tomorrow, whether you're outside of totality here in the Carolinas or in that path. Mid 70s for the afternoon highs. Mostly cloudy, so of course we'll be watching those clouds very closely. Small chance of rain. Better rain chances Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, with the bulk of that rain coming in on Thursday with some storms, but we do clear out just in time for the second half of Friday and into the weekend. Next home match there for Charlotte FC looks fantastic next Saturday, and of course Sunday. Look at that forecast. What could be better? Mostly sunny and a high of 81. We'll be back with more on the eclipse forecast as well as more on your extended 10-day forecast on WCNC Charlotte at 11.